Some of them will love school, some of them will never like it, but they still have to learn the self-discipline and the structure to go to school, because one day they're going to have jobs, they're going to have to pay taxes. There's lots of things that we do as adults that we don't like. So the sooner you teach your children that there's just stuff in life that you're going to have to do if you like it or not. That's just the way life is. Hello, welcome to the BratBusters Parenting Podcast. I'm Lisa Bunnage. I'm a mom, I'm a parenting coach, and I'm also a grandmother quite recently. And I'm joined with my daughter who works with me. Welcome, Amy.
I'm Amy Bunnage, and I'm a daughter. That's my title.
Well, no, it isn't. She actually does all my marketing, all my social media, and all my planning. Basically, she tells me what to do, and I just do it because I hate leading in the business, and she loves it.
Yeah, definitely. The dynamic works out well between us.
Yeah, we always have gotten along really well, but we didn't know how well we do in business together. But we do not. There's no crossover in what we do, so we get along perfectly. It's amazing.
Except if I'm trying to explain technology to you.
Yeah, that we don't want to talk about that. We don't need to go into that. Okay. So what is today's episode all about? Because I never know what's going to happen. So
today we'll be talking about homework and school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, we have some questions, but do we want to start out with the questions themselves, or do you want to tell anything about it?
Well, I just want to say a lot of my clients are homeschoolers, and I don't have any opinion either way on how, what schools your kids are in, or if you homeschool or send them out there. The only thing I would say is a little bit of a word of warning, which you probably already know, is if you do homeschool, make sure that you also socialize your children with kids who are not homeschooled, because eventually they're going to be mainstreamed out there in the world, and it's kind of good preparation if they've been around other people who are not homeschooled. It tends to be a really tight-knit community, especially if you're in a small town. You don't tend to see kids who aren't homeschooled as much. But anyway, that's the only thing. But otherwise, I have no opinion on it. I think any schooling is good schooling.
Okay. So we'll get into the questions, and then some follow-up questions might happen from there.
Sound good.
Laura from the UK. How do I get my 6-year-old to concentrate and independently learn?
That's a really big question. To concentrate and independently learn. I don't really want to address that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how do you get her to do what she needs to do? Because what you're asking is independent learning. You're kind of asking a lot from her. She's only 6 years old. So she can learn that she has to do what she needs to do. Okay, you got to go to school, you got to finish your homework. But when it comes to independent learning, it almost sounds like you want her to want to learn. Are you getting that too? Getting that feeling from that question? Independent learning? That the mom wants her to want to learn. You can't always teach your children to enjoy learning in school. They'll enjoy learning what they want to learn, but if they don't enjoy school, you can never teach them to enjoy school, but you can teach them they have to do what they have to do. So, but do you kind of glean that too, that she wants her to want to learn? Because that's a different thing. That's trying to change their basic nature.
I can see that. I also just think concentration in general, like maybe just how to concentrate. So it's maybe not coming from the perspective of that she wants her to want to learn.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I just read that differently, or heard that differently. Okay, so let's say you need her to do her homework. I would say when they first come home from school, they've had enough school for a while. I like my kids to have some downtime right after school. And then I'd say, okay, so right before dinner, I'm going to start cooking dinner now. So you can do your homework now. So you give her a whole hour or whatever it takes. So I'm going to give you an hour. That's your homework hour. And then you make sure that she's near you. You want her to be around you, and you're chatting to her too, so she can talk to you. So she's not sequestered in a den having to do her homework. She's still part of the action that's going on. So you're encouraging her. You're there encouraging her and start praising her for doing her homework. I say don't overpraise kids, but this is a time you do want to praise a kid. Oh, you're doing really well. That looks really great. So yeah, you want to be right there with her. And if she doesn't do her homework within that hour, then there's no TV or whatever she wants to do later until it's done. So it's sort of more of an incentive-based one, because there's usually something that they want to do at night. Like usually it's watching a show or something. So say, sure, as soon as you finished your homework. But you don't want to make it sound like it's torture, because you're right there. You kind of want to encourage her and take her along for the ride sort of thing. But it's kind of tricky. They're only little, and they're just learning how to learn. And let's face it, did we all like school? I mean, there was times I was bored out of my mind at school. So, but I knew that I had to sit there and learn. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like that's a great answer, but I don't think there is a really good answer for that. It just takes time. You're teaching her self-discipline more than anything. So, yeah, anyway, let's move on. And I might make myself more clear as we go along.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. It's Courtney from the United States. Hello, my oldest son, who is 6, is in first grade, and we have about 15 to 20 minutes of homework per night. We also have a 4-year-old and a 16-month-old, all boys. Our routine after school is to come home, grab a snack, we eat at the kitchen table or counter. My oldest likes to do his homework right away, which is nice just to get it done and be able to have the rest of the afternoon. Since he's in the first grade, he still needs a little help, so I need to sit with him. My 4-year-old has been quite tired after school, and it's been a struggle to keep him entertained during the homework sessions. He's pretty needy, lots of whining, and lots of pushback after school, which has been making it difficult to help the oldest with homework. Looking for some suggestions on a better flow for the afternoon, especially with little ones to take care of.
Oh, I would have homework for the little one too. It could just be coloring or something. Have him doing his homework too. So I'd set him up with his own little school books, his own little pencil case, and I'd have him doing homework too. I'd be helping him out too. And you color in the giraffe with this and all. So yeah. And also you're teaching him how to get into the habit of doing homework too. But yeah, just have him do something too. Set him up with his own little desk area right beside. So you got one kid on either side of you and you're supporting him. How does that sound?
Yeah, did you do that with me and my brother?
Yes, I did.
I don't remember it.
You were so excited you were so jealous of your brother. Oh, he gets all this homework. And I was thinking, yeah, you won't be too excited once you start school. But yeah, that's what we did. He'd be doing his homework. So we'd set you up in the dining room with your own little homework set up.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
learning
so
something
that's
about
where I got
myself.
that from. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, next question is Joseph from Sweden. So my 4-year-old son keeps saying he doesn't want to go to preschool, and when we pick him up, he doesn't want to leave. Switch morning routines could help? Question mark.
Well, it doesn't matter if he doesn't want to go. He's still got to go. If he says he doesn't want to go, say, oh, well, I don't want to go to work some days either. So when they say they don't want to do something, I don't kind of give that a lot of weight. I just say, well, we're going anyway. So he's kind of testing the waters to see if you're going to say, okay, we'll stay home. So don't worry if he's got to go there anyway. Just because he says he doesn't want to do it doesn't mean that I'm going to react to that and go, well, we're going to go anyway. So yeah, he's kind of fishing to see how you're going to react. He knows he has to go, and of course he's going to have fun once he's there. He's surrounded by all these other kids. So yeah, just ignore that stuff. He's just seeing what you're going to say. He's testing it.
Okay, we'll go into the next question. Elaine from UK. How to help a 3-year-old overcome separation anxiety. All was going well until he completed 3 years, and now he is super attached to me. Doesn't want daddy, and preschool drop-offs are particularly bad.
Okay, well, separation anxiety is super common. Teachers are really good at this stuff, and they always say the same thing. Make it fast, like pulling off a Band-Aid. The longer you drag out the goodbye, the worse it's going to be. So I call it the dump and run. You just dump them off and run, basically. So you always sort of end like this. You say, okay, I'll see you later. And with that little hook at the end, see you later, and then go. And then when you pick them up, don't make a big deal out of the hello either. So you just say, oh, come on, we're going to go to the park on our way home or whatever. So you don't make a big deal out of the drop off or the pickup. They will, but don't get pulled into it. Parents tend to let their kids lead, and then parents often follow. So they're so busy reacting to their kids' actions. I like to turn that around. I like to act and then let kids react to me. So if I'm really calm and just saying, oh, see you later, hopefully they'll join in. Eventually they will be, yeah, okay. Might take 3 weeks, maybe even longer. Separation anxiety can take a few weeks. But yeah, the quicker you say goodbye, the better.
Because I remember that. I had separation anxiety for sure when I was little.
I don't remember that because you never cried.
Well, yes, but you know what I mean.
You might have felt it, but I remember seeing that your little chin used to quiver. And I say, bye, see you later. It was agony for me, I'll be honest. It was agony. But yeah, and then she was fine all day. Oh, that's not true. You were Velcro. She wanted to be with mom all day long. Yeah, she was Velcro. And, but yeah, she knew that she had to go to daycare. I remember when she was really little and I used to go to the gym every day. Now, her brother's 5 years older and he loved going to gym daycare. He loved it. So that was his social life and he thought it was great. On the weekends, when he'd see me getting into my leggings and that, he used to cry because I wasn't taking him with me because they didn't have daycare on the weekends. Whereas my daughter, on the other hand, she hated going into the daycare because she just wanted to be with me all the time. And I remember I used to teach aerobics and I was at this one gym and it had glass where she could see me. And I remember looking in the daycare and I was in the middle of teaching this class and I looked and we locked eyes. She had not got out of her stroller. She was sitting in her stroller, locked eyes with me for the whole hour. That's all she did. She never moved.
That sounds like me. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just waiting. She never cried or anything, but she just wanted to be with mom all the time. So, but yeah, I just remember locking eyes with her thinking, can you just get up and play or something? But nope, they said she wouldn't move. She just stared at you the whole time.
Yeah.
She was adorable, by the way.
Okay, we're going to go into the next question. This isn't the full question, but this is the first part of it. So, Sam from Canada, my children are 6, 4, and 2, confused about consequences. I love that you never ask twice. For example, when we are heading out the door to school and the child who is 4 is not getting his shoes on, refusing or simply ignoring my request, what would be an appropriate consequence? Learning how to be a leader, how do we follow through when we are on our way to school and time is not on our side? I know that I should just it says get moving earlier, I know, etc.
Oh, God, you're going to hate me because you got to get moving earlier. But what I did with my kids, and this is usually what I teach, is a few different ways we can do this. But generally, you set it up like systems are everything. Get structure and systems. So, and I used to say to my kids, as soon as you're ready for school, you can watch TV or play video games, right? So they knew, and they just always, I never told them, do you remember me ever nagging you about anything, really? Anything? Like, I don't remember ever reminding them to get ready for school, do their homework, go to bed.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah, no. Anyway, what I said, I used it, the school morning routine was incentive based. So as soon as you're ready, and that means everything, you have to eat, get dressed, pack your bag, put it by the front door, get all completely ready. Then you can plunk yourself down and watch some TV or play video games, okay? You know, it was really funny. My son was always working systems. He was just really brilliant at this. He was 5 years old in grade 1. So I told him this and I said, school morning. So from now on, you know, because he was old enough to get himself ready. And I was there, but I mean, he was getting himself ready. And you know what he did one morning? I woke up at like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. And we usually got up at like 7 or so, or he did. And I heard the TV and I was so confused. He's 5 years old. And I go down the hallway and he's sitting there in his uniform and he's watching TV. I said, what are you doing? And it was like it was probably about 5 in the morning. It was still dark out. I said, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm all ready for school, so I get to watch TV now. He thought he could just get up at like 3 in the morning and watch 5 hours of TV.
I've always wondered, because whenever you give that advice, you always have that caveat of, you know, only like a certain amount of
10
time.
minutes. Then you get 10 minutes.
I didn't know that was inspired by my brother.
That was inspired by your brother. So yeah, then I said, I started laughing and instantly he knew he wasn't supposed to do that. So he ended up laughing too. He was so little though. It was so cute. And also in order to time crunch even more, he had put his uniform on at bedtime. And I didn't know why he was doing that. And he said, look at me, I'm all ready for school. And he was going to bed with his uniform on. So, and then I said, no, sweetie, it'll get all wrinkled. You have to take that off. So then he had got up and put it on and I didn't realize why. He thought he probably would have eaten breakfast at night if he thought that would have saved some time in the morning. Anyway, so yeah, what I suggest you do is say, as soon as you're ready, then you can watch 10 minutes or play 10 minutes of video games. So you got to put a time limit on it. So that's the incentive-based one that I use most of the time. It's not bribery. Bribery is when they're doing something naughty and you say, if you stop doing that naughty thing, then you'll get this. This is more incentive. Oh, if you're all ready, so if you do something really well, then you get a reward sort of thing. So it's a little bit different. Anyway.
Okay, we'll go to the next question. Diane from the United States. My 3-year-old is hitting kids in school for no visible reason. What are some appropriate consequences the school can use? We just started a behavior board as well at home.
Okay. The school, I can't talk about schools because I don't teach teaching, so I don't know. They usually have their own stuff that they do, but I would have them report to you and say, can you please just let me know, every time I pick them up, did he hit or not? They're really busy, by the way, at pickup time. So just have them either, nod or whatever, just some little clue. In other words, yes, he did hit. So I would put on my behavior board at home, I would say no hitting. And if he hit at school, then I would impose the consequence once he gets home. That behavior board doesn't start until they're 3. So he's old enough to do that now. So when he gets home, then he gets a consequence. Now, it can go to next level where he can hit a lot at school. So if he does that, then there's other things I do. If he's hitting the same kid on a regular basis, like sort of becoming a bully to this one kid, I would say, okay, what we're going to do is there's a consequence at home usually, but we're going to change it up a little bit because he's really kind of bullying one particular kid. So you say, what we're going to do is we're going to take your favorite toy or even his gaming console, whatever, and that little boy is going to get to have that for the whole weekend. So I would loan your favorite toy to that victim for a whole weekend. Work this out with the parents. Say, I'm just trying to teach him a lesson. So anyway, it's kind of I don't like doing that, but it works. They don't usually hit the kid the next week. It works.
Okay.
But he's really little for that one. But still, I've done it with parents with 3-year-olds, and it's worked. So I don't like going to that level, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And if you're looking for the BratBusters behavior board, you just go to bratbusters.com and it'll be right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have the final question. So Claire from the UK, just under 3, how much educational stuff do you need to do before kids start school? We've mostly focused on getting outdoors, play, and getting involved in chores, doing things herself so far. Should we continue to do that or do more things like math and etc.?
I am anti-accelerated learning completely. How often do they get to play in mud puddles in their lifetime? Like that is their focus. Play, goofy stuff, just relaxing, physical stuff. They've got lots of time for learning once they hit school. And how bored are they going to be? I've found there's more problems initiated by accelerated learning, because if your kid knows the alphabet and basically the whole encyclopedia, if he knows it before he starts school, how bored is he going to be in school? So yeah, I don't do any accelerated learning. I think I play hard with kids and try to emphasize just being fun and goofy and relaxed. So yeah, I don't like accelerated learning. I'm not anti it. Like if you're doing it and you really want to do it, that's fine. But yeah, I never did it, and I would never want to do it. If I had kids again, I wouldn't do it either. So just because I've seen more problems with kids who've been accelerated than not. And the reason why parents want to do that, a lot of the times, it's bragging rights. Look, my kid can say the whole alphabet. And whenever I've heard a parent say that to me, I'm thinking, gee, they're going to be trouble in school. When the kids are all learning the alphabet, that kid's going to be trouble because they got nothing to do. They've already learned it. So yeah, just let them be kids for as long as possible. How often can we just run into puddles and think that's fun? I don't want them to be learning an alphabet when they should be rolling down the hill at the park.
Okay, that's the end of the questions, but I thought we might just end on a little bit of the differences between Canadian school and Australian school. And one thing in particular, something that we're based in Vancouver, Canada, but we grew up in Brisbane, Australia. And one really big difference that they don't do over here, and I was quite shocked, Easter hat parades.
Okay. In Australia, there's a lot of stuff that's different. Well, for one thing, the national anthem, I can remember the first time they sang that, and I was so confused. I was in this school, and it was Australians all let us. I was like, what? Because I was used to "Oh Canada," so my kids were used to all this stuff, but there was a lot of differences over there. Anyway, they have this thing called the Easter hat parade, and I'd never heard of it before. But what they do is the kids decorate a hat at home, and then they come in and they have a parade. They all walk around with these Easter hats on. It's so goofy looking. And then there's a big, like an assembly. So all the parents turn up and take pictures. Anyway, one day, this was really funny. I decided with my son's hat, I decided to hang a bunch of big chocolate Easter eggs off with strings. So his whole hat was covered in Easter eggs. When I went to pick him up after school, one of the other moms that I knew really well, her little boy went to the same class as mine. And it was actually Bridget. It was Jesse's mom. I don't think she's listening, but anyway, she was laughing, and she was laughing at my son. And I said, "What's so funny?" Because she'd seen him in the morning with all these big chocolate eggs hanging off his hat. When I picked him up, all the strings were hanging empty. So she thought that was funny. She goes, "What did this poor kid go through? All the eggs were taken off him." But anyway, yeah, it was so cute. But just so many things were different there. One thing that I'm really glad I did raise my kids over there, because they encourage and they need parent involvement. So pretty much in every class all the time in elementary school, or primary as they call it over there, grade school, there's a parent in the classroom, and they're supporting the teacher there. You're just there like to sort of do some extra work with a kid who's struggling, or I was there if there was a kid that was out of control. I was sort of more into the behavior stuff. So I would just sit with them and support the teacher. Then when we moved to Canada, my kids were 9 and 14. So I thought, well, great, I'll go and do that at my daughter's school. You're not always in their same class, by the way. So yeah, they're not allowed over here. And I can understand why. In Australia, we're very obedient as Australians. We just sit in the back of the class. If the teacher does something we don't like, we just sit there and shut up. It's none of our business. Whereas in North America, parents would be more inclined to speak up and say something and interfere. So that's why it's not included here. So, but I really missed that when we first moved back here. And also another thing my kids pointed out was in Australia, the schools don't have hallways because every class is like individual, and then they walk out in the open because of the weather, right? Whereas here, my kids thought it was so cool. It was just like on TV, like American TV. There was hallways in schools. I never would have thought of that. I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, a lot of differences in Australia.
Yeah, hallways, no uniforms too. That was a big thing. So I like to think that you did a lot that really built up my character as an individual for school.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Oh, I know where we're
we all
going.
had the same hats in Australia because it's all school uniforms.
Mm.
My mom decided to glitter glue or fabric paint my hat, and it had like Amy on it, and it had hearts and butterflies, which like in hindsight, yeah, it was kind of cool. But if you're the only kid who has that on their hat, I mean, I think it was because you didn't want me getting head lice, but it
Well,
was
the reason is
character
because
building.
kids can't tell the difference in hats. And I think that the other kids were teasing you just because they were jealous because they didn't have glitter hats.
They're definitely jealous. Okay.
But then they could tell their hats from the others because head lice was an issue because kids couldn't tell their hat from the others. So they just pick up and put on any hat. So that's why. And plus I made all their clothes, like all their uniforms too, but they couldn't tell the difference. I was a decent sewer. So I did make all their uniforms. But anyway, yeah, they had to wear these glitter hats. Oh, my son didn't have glitter on his. Okay, I didn't put hearts and flowers on his. I put manly trucks and dinosaurs. No, I didn't do that. I just put his name. But yeah, that's why I did that. And they had to wear the big flap hats because of the sun. You're not allowed outside there without a big flap hat, like a sun protected hat. So, but yeah, I was outside the norm for sure.
Character building. It was
Character
good.
building. I thought you were going to bring up the.
No, that's for another episode.
Okay, we got another story. That one. I thought you were going to bring that one up.
Maybe we should just end it there.
Yeah, let's just end it here. So anyway, thanks so much for joining us. This homework one was a little bit more tricky for me, I think, because it threw me off when that parent, it almost sounded, okay, here's why it threw me off, because so often parents come to me and they say, how can we make school fun? And I say, they're not all going to like school, and that's normal, but they have to learn how to eventually go to work. They might not enjoy working. There's lots of things in life that we're not going to enjoy. So school, if they don't like it, that's too bad. They're just going to have to learn to push through anyway and do their best. They don't always have to be perfect. They don't have to bring home the best grades or anything. But I always insisted that my kids do their best and they be polite always. So yeah, I don't think it's fair to try and teach them to like everything, because they're not going to. Some of them will love school. Some of them will never like it. But they still have to learn the self-discipline and the structure to go to school, because one day they're going to have jobs. They're going to have to pay taxes. There's lots of things that we do as adults that we don't like. So the sooner you teach your children that there's just stuff in life that you're going to have to do if you like it or not. That's just the way life is. So that's why that kind of threw me off, because I kind of wanted to go on a little bit of a tangent about that it's just more about teaching them self-discipline than anything else.
Okay.
Thanks so much for that. And thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out BratBusters.com to learn more about the behavior board, parenting courses, and private one-on-one coaching with Lisa. The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for professional advice. Lisa is a parenting coach, mom, and grandmother. She is not a licensed psychologist or counselor. Her services do not replace the care of psychologists or other healthcare professionals. For a full disclaimer, please visit BratBusters.com/disclaimer.